Friday's breakfast show. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. A solicitor representing Bloody Sunday victims and their families says no amount of money will ever make up for what happened to them. More than £900,000 in damages is to be paid out in 14 more compensation claims brought over the events of that day. The settlements were confirmed at the High Court yesterday as part of a series of lawsuits against the Ministry of Defence. 13 people were killed when members of the Parachute Regiment opened fire on civil rights demonstrators in the Bogside. A 14th person died later. Fearghal Shiels represents a number of the families.
Well, I think the overwhelming reaction is one of relief that for the vast majority of them, this process is now finished. It's been a long road to get here. It's a road which began after Savills' report was published in June of 2010. We then went to the Prime Minister asking for his proposal to compensate the families, bearing in mind the conclusions of Saville and his own apology. We had hoped that obviously this could have been resolved a lot more speedily. The government had undertaken to resolve the matters quickly. However, we were forced in the end up to issue writs in the High Court, and a lengthy process followed. I believe yesterday's hearing was the 17th or 18th in the High Court before a master or a High Court judge.
And what kind of mental toll does that take on the people involved? You know, I think of Michael Quinn and the evidence he gave, and I suppose having to outline exactly what happened to you, reopen that chapter, a very difficult chapter, and then articulate as well how you were treated and how you were made to feel down through the years. And that's just Michael that springs to mind. Of course, there are so many others. What sort of toll does that take on a person?
It takes a huge toll on them. Most of these people are private people. They don't speak very publicly about what happened to them. Obviously, in 2000, 2001, they would have had to give evidence before Lord Saville. But the next time that most of them would have spoken about the events would have been in the preparation of reports. So, for example, they would have had to relive their experience when being interviewed by experts, and in these cases the Crown, the MOD also get their own expert report. So it's a very, very traumatic experience for them, and obviously if cases are only settling at the door of the court, they're having to prepare themselves for the prospect of having to give evidence all over again. Now, we would hope that in light of what happened in Mr. Quinn's case, for example, that these cases can now be resolved without the need for people to have to give evidence, but that is really in the MOD's court as to how they wish to proceed with matters. If sensible offers, if fair offers can be made, then hopefully that will not be necessary.
Okay, so that's very much in the MOD's hands, really, now? Yes. Okay. Yes. And how soon, Mr. Shiels, can the families expect this compensation to be paid?
Well, it should be paid within a matter of weeks.
And does this mark the end for some families? I know every family always feels different, and rightly so, in anything like this. But does it mark the end for some in the search for justice?
Well, for some families, yes, it will mark the end of legal action, and we hope that they can begin to get some closure. Obviously, for other families, prosecutions are sought. There's been a lengthy police investigation. Files have been with the Public Prosecution Service for decisions on prosecution for some time now, and those decisions are expected imminently. Obviously, it's known that now 4 of the soldiers who opened fire on Bloody Sunday are now deceased, and clearly they cannot be prosecuted. But there is a real prospect that others could be prosecuted for actions that they either committed alone or committed jointly with others. If it is found that, or if it is considered that they opened fire jointly in order to cause death or injury.
Mm-hmm. And just on a final point, Mr. Shiels, how soon will these next cases be heard? Will it be before the end of the year?
Well, what will happen in the coming weeks is that there will be further negotiations with the MOD's legal team. We have been encouraged by the High Court to return if resolutions have been agreed. If resolutions are not agreed, the High Court will review the cases again on the 21st of December. And if it is necessary to proceed to trial, then we will expect that to happen early in the new year.
That's Fearghal Shiels speaking there, a solicitor who represents a number of the Bloody Sunday families. We have been in touch with the MOD. A spokesperson from there said as settlement-related cases are ongoing, it would be inappropriate to comment further.